Welcome everyone to HueFin, also known as HueFin News. Today is September the 15th, 2020. We're going to talk about Nikola stock. You guys probably heard about them in the news of how a short seller is trying to get them on some fraud charges on how they're not necessarily the upcoming Tesla. But we're going to talk about that today on this video. But before I do, this is your first time watching our video. You guys appreciate our content that we are delivering. I always want to remind you, to go ahead and hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, because it's our premise to give you all beneficial news that you all can utilize on a daily basis. Something that you can learn from, something that we're not actually here to FOMO you on or even fudge you into these particular markets. It's also our job to make sure that we follow the trap. He's the guy that you see at the bottom left side of my screen. He's the one that is dictating the market moves in the stock market. And once you understand what he's trying to do, you're able to profit right along with him. Okay, so we're going to talk about the performance of our last video in Nikola stock first, before we talk about whether or not this particular market is a buy. Okay, so the last time we did our video in Nikola was on August the 23rd. You guys can see our expectations. We already knew that the market in Nikola was in a downtrend. So we're not surprised to see, the market in Nikola going lower. We expected it to happen. And we traded sideways for a couple of days following our video on the 23rd. But then we got that drop right there on September the 4th that ultimately almost came to our TP price, right? 18.08%. And right there on September the 8th is where the market news came out stating that GM was partnering with Nikola. And you guys saw how massive that news came in. But then again, we came right back down. That lets you know that there is a lot of battles going on between those who are long the market in Nikola and those who are trying to push the price down. And another thing that you can tell that is going on is look at this volume from the last 5 days versus what has been historically seen on this price chart. So we definitely got some participation going on into the market for Nikola, which is a positive thing. We need volatility to go on in order to grab profits out the market. It's just how the market operates. So this volume that you see right now on my screen, we have to take note of that. We have to make sure that the market is actually moving. The big money, the institutions, the large banking institutions are actually being more involved in the market now than what we've seen or been accustomed to in this particular market for Nikola. So what they do now is going to be real imperative for each of us to pay attention on how the market reacts, because a massive war is going on between those who are long Nikola and then those who are short. So at least you could have gotten about 18.08% out the market following our video from the 21st or 23rd of August. That is old, that is done, that is completed. So let's play this out and let's get rid of it. Plain and simple. Let's just take it out the way. Okay, so here we are. You guys can see right here on the right side, the market is already trading pre-market at $33.01, right? So are we going to continually see Nikola trade below this descending line? That's the question that we need to see. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to extend it down just a little bit lower, because the market in Nikola is trading around $33 right now. Now, one thing I wanted to show you is that once you type in Nikola stock in Google, you guys can see that they have been in the headlines. GM conducted appropriate diligence on their $2 billion Nikola deal. This is what the CEO of GM stating. SEC opens a probe as GM CEO Mary Barra defends the Nikola partnership. Nikola calls the short sale report defamatory, but doesn't bust the major claim that the short seller has made. They are in the news. Nikola releases more detailed rebuttal to the short seller report addressing rolling downhill video. So they are in the news, and it is this type of news that we can use to our benefit, because we'll see how the major institutions react. And we'll know based off this volume and how the market reacts to this news as to whether or not Nikola is going to continue to move higher in price or will continue to go lower and lower. So I really want to focus on this particular area right here in the market for Nikola. This area looks to be a very crucial area of support into the market for this particular product. Okay, so we need to see this market in Nikola hold, I would say, right around $28, $29 is where the market in Nikola needs to hold. Okay, so we got an area of support now. So while the market is getting hit with massive amount of volatility and volume and participation from the market, keep our eyes open on $28. Okay, we definitely need to be focused into the market in Nikola at $28, because looking at this weekly chart, what occurred last week definitely hints as we got a lot of movement to the downside to go through. And this restriction area around 40 is where we need to pay attention to as well, because the market can definitely hit this $40 price and get rejected and come right back down in price. So the market definitely needs to be seen around $28. Market is trading around $20.33 right now. The 4-hour chart in Nikola, you guys can see right here, we started out the day on the 8th. Massive. This is where the GM deal came through and we completely fell back down. And here we are again. The market is trying to uphold price at $28. Now, considering how volatile the market is right now in Nikola, we need to get more calm and stability to come into this market, because I am still expecting some gyrations, some massive movements to go on into this market in Nikola. The volatility hasn't ended yet for this particular product, for this market. But I'm giving us some areas that we need to be focused on to see the trap, to see the big institutions, to see where they're coming in at. And it's going to be around $28. So in the long term, we see this market in Nikola break $28 to the downside. Then we understand that that short seller, that major short seller that came out with a report, that he is winning massively. Market holds $28, then we know that the other institutions who are long Nikola, they're winning and the short is losing. So we're just going to hold out into the market right now in Nikola stock, because it still looks as if this market is giving us a little bit more weakness. You know, a lot more people are feeling more unease with this market in Nikola, because this is the next reason right here. You can tell when the market in Nikola was trading, we were trading majority of the time that it's been listed on this exchange, it's been trading above this ascending line, right? Now we cracked that ascending line on the 11th, and then we touched it on the 14th. But looking at pre-market, that area is still acting as restriction. So we are definitely still seeing more weakness into the market in Nikola, which is why it's imperative for us to stay focused on $28, $29 around that vicinity. So I'm not going to put in a forecast on this market right now in Nikola, but better yet, let's pay attention to see how this market operates. And we got some ideas to where we really need to be focused. We need to see strength come in the market at 28. We break 28 to the downside, you know that this market, as already is the notion, is weak. We already know that the market is weak in Nikola. The only way that that tide would turn is when we see that strength come in at 28. You don't see it, we already know that the market has been weak for a while. So we need to wait for that change to occur, and it's not here yet. So we're just going to sit the sideline on this one. Definitely want to know your perception, your thoughts about Nikola. Do you think the market's going to continue to go lower, or do you think we will actually bounce at 28? Tell us with your comment. Make sure you maintain a profitability, and as always, I will see you on our next video.